We're up to the final act, and we are now situated in Tituba and Sarah Good's cell in the Salem jail. In comes their jailer, Herrick, who stumbles in drunk, ready to move them to a different cell. The women seem crazy, calling out to the devil, asking him to take them home. Danforth and Judge Hawthorne arrive, annoyed that Herrick has been letting Reverend Hale into the jail to pray with the prisoners. Danforth is even more angry that Herrick has been drinking, even when Herrick protests that he's not drunk at all. That's probably the most unconvincing lie we've heard yet. Then Herrick leaves, and after a while, Reverend Parris enters, looking frightened. He informs Danforth that Abigail has vanished, taking all his money with her. He reveals that there have been riots nearby against the witch trials. There are even whispers of an uprising in Salem. Reverend Parris believes that Abigail has fled, scared of what will happen if a full-on rebellion breaks out. He confesses that he has also been receiving death threats. He begs Danforth to pardon John, Martha, and Rebecca, whose executions may spark an uprising, but Danforth has other plans. Reverend Hale enters, stating that those who are sentenced to die would rather be hanged than lie about being bewitched. Danforth again refuses to pardon them, saying that the town has already executed 12 people for the same crime. It wouldn't be fair to pardon these 3. In an attempt to persuade John to confess, Danforth summons Elizabeth. She is unconvinced that persuading John to fake a confession is the right thing to do. Still, Danforth convinces Elizabeth to try and speak with John, but she makes no promises. Elizabeth and John are brought together and allowed to speak alone. John tells Elizabeth that he has been tortured and that he will probably be executed soon. Elizabeth says that lots of people have confessed, but some never did, like Giles, whom they executed by laying great stones upon his chest. How charming! John, avoiding Elizabeth's eyes, says that he has been thinking about confessing. Elizabeth is unsure, but says that it is up to him. John admits that he hasn't been a good man, so he reasons that faking a confession will not ruin his integrity. Eventually, John decides to confess. Danforth and Hawthorne are delighted. John desperately clasps his hands in prayer, asking Elizabeth one final time if what he is about to do is evil. She affirms that it is not her place to judge him. Shortly after, Danforth enters John's cell with pen, ink and paper, stating that his confession must be written as an example for others. Now that's what I call public shaming. However, when Danforth asks John to incriminate his other witching conspirators, he refuses, taking Elizabeth's advice on board. John affirms that he will not judge another. Danforth reluctantly stops questioning John. He gives John the written testimony and asks him to sign it. After great hesitation, John signs his name. Just as Danforth reaches for the paper, John snatches it back. Make up your mind, John. He refuses to hand over the paper, demanding to know why his repentance must be made public. Breaking down, he announces that he refuses to make his signed confession public, knowing that it's a lie. Weeping in fury, John tears the paper. As Danforth orders John to be hanged, Reverend Parris desperately asks Elizabeth to change John's mind. Elizabeth grips the bars of the window in John's cell to keep her legs from giving way. She ignores Reverend Parris's requests. She can finally see that John is ready to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, even if it means his death. A new sun rises and light begins to pour in, reminding us that truth and goodness are finally making their way back to the cursed town of Salem, even as John is finally hanged. We hope you enjoyed this Schooling Online production. For more easy lessons on the Crucible, check out our context analysis of the play.